Hello everybody, it's Mr. Caldall, just wanting to give you a quick little help video in case you have any questions about the percent composition handout that you're doing at the end of class here. So the first thing to realize is this page, the front of the first page, we're going to not worry about that today because that is an activity we will do together when I see you next class period. Right? But what we are going to think about is just how this makes sense in terms of calculating a percent composition. And so if you think about the masses of any of the different elements, masses of different elements in compounds, we can figure out what percent of each compound is made up out of each of the elements. So what you would do is if you're just given a generic formula, right, HCl, you know that H has a mass from the periodic table of 1.01 grams per mole. And you look up chlorine. Chlorine is 35.45 grams per mole. So that gives you a total of 36.46 grams. So if I wanted to figure out what percent of the total is the hydrogen and what percent of the total is the chlorine, just think about what percentages, how percentages work. This would be 1.01 grams out of the total, 36.46. And this would be 35.45 grams out of the total, 36.46. And what I would suggest is because everything is to 2 decimal places, right? You could go ahead and just do this to 2 decimal places. If you got all hung up on sig figs, you could say, well, this is 3, this is 4, so I'd go 3 sig figs here, right? And you just throw those in the calculator, right? And remember that in order to turn them into a percentage, you have to move the decimal 2 places. So this one ends up being, I'm going to go to 2 decimal places, 2.77%, and then the other one here, 35.45 divided by 36.46. That's going to be 97.23%. And you know you've done these right because the percentages should add up to 100%. Now there might be a little bit of variation just based on rounding, but well, gosh darn it, that does add up to 100%. Now, that's all written down here, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood where all these numbers were coming from. Now, the problems that you're going to see here, all right? So you'll take the formulas here on the top part, right? And actually, my sheet looks slightly different than your sheet, I believe, which is fine, right? But you'll go ahead and figure out the mass of 2 sodiums, the mass of an oxygen. You'll figure out the total mass by adding them all together, and then you'll do the division just like I told you. Now, if instead of being given just the formula, right, let's say that it also gives you some masses, and I'm making numbers up here. These numbers won't actually work because they are coming off the top of my head. So let's say that I have 1.4 grams of Fe, and I have 3.2 grams of O. If I wanted to know the percentage, I would go ahead and say, well, I already know some masses. So the total mass would be 1.4 grams plus 3.2 grams. So that would be 4.6 grams. And if I wanted to know what percent was the iron and what percent was the oxygen, I'd just say, well, I know that there are 1.4 grams out of the total of 4.6. And I know that there are 3.2 grams out of the total of 4.6. And you would, again, convert those to a percentage, and you would be good. So hopefully this little video helps some of you guys if you have any questions or troubles with percent composition. Have a great day and a great weekend. See you soon.